People usually hire us because we can provide services from the very beginning of a project, concept designing, even site location, to the very end, interior design and staging, as you will see in this home. So they do hire us for our design, but I also think that they hire us because I'm very direct with regards to the process, the costs. I work very hard to protect my clients in this journey, and I work really well collaboratively with my clients. I'm very fast, and I think that we deliver. I don't think we ever come at any project with the same ideas. We are open to developing any style of architecture, any emotional feeling within a space. But the reality is we go from mountains to fields to water. Most of our properties are view properties, so we're really oriented on whether it's 360-degree view or direct view. I am Cathy Purple Cherry, based out of Annapolis, Maryland. We are in Centerville, Maryland, which is known as the Eastern Shore of Maryland. This was a vision and a dream of our client, specifically while there is a husband and a wife. The husbands had dreamed of this for probably the last 25 years. He always wanted a Maryland-style generational compound that would support his family and his friends for a long time. So this project consists of 9 structures that are relatively closely located so that they're walkable. This client specifically knew a lot about the architectural style of what he wanted. That was actually terrific. He knew that he wanted a large Georgian-style Maryland country home. He knew that he wanted painted brick. He knew that he wanted the out structures that are on the property. At the same time, he was very open to allowing input, modification, changes, layering, heavy millwork, creative opportunities. And I think that's what allowed us as an office to really provide such a special design. The kitchen is a house unto itself. It consists of a big island with the whole kitchen prep area. It has a 6-foot-long custom-made stainless steel sink and 3 faucets. Love it. Next to it has the second island, but the island isn't actually a seating island. It's more like a piece of furniture, again custom designed, has a zinc top and is painted a different color in a coastal blue. Next to that is a third island table that is a slab of wood that was built and designed into a table with these industrial legs, and then beyond that is a casual sitting area against a fireplace. It is actually very functionally designed. There is a bar area, there is a coffee station area, there is the working components of the kitchen. Connected to that kitchen actually is a butler's pantry with great, fun, playful gray-on-gray brick flooring and stainless steel elements, open glass refrigerator, and that element supports the kitchen but also connects through to the formal dining room. The formal dining room, this house is large enough that it wanted a formal dining room. This is a 28,000 square foot home. And you can see all the way through the house. So it's connected, but it's formalized by the molding and the millwork that surrounds that space. The whole conversation was, does it take a formal dining table or does it take a casual dining table? Ultimately, the casual dining table won. This particular client also had a 25-year history of collecting magnificent artwork because, again, it's a feature that makes a house feel like it's truly a home. We're standing in the library, which is immediately off of all of the public spaces. This is what I call a double layered millworked room. We asked the client if we could actually do kind of this effort of creating special little moments throughout this room, which we did, obviously starting with the idea of the two little built-in benches with leather seats that flank the fireplace. That led to the built-in bookcases both sides. On the end of the home that consists of the billiards table and the bar is also the property owner's office. And it is a monochromatic room. What a monochromatic room means is that the room is one color. And frequently these one color rooms tend to sway into the darker color. So it's kind of a dark slate blue. And it incorporates warm browns in the leather and in the flooring and brass in the light fixtures. The most exciting part of this room is something that I'm getting ready to show you. It happens frequently. Sometimes these hidden doors actually go into a more functional space. That way you can hide your printer and copiers. In this particular case, this hidden panel goes into a space in which a safe is currently sitting. This is basically the game end of the house opposite the far end, which contains the kitchen. This is the party room. This billiards room, what I love about doing an intricate room like this, even though you may not recognize it, is every intersection of every piece of millwork and detail is actually designed and drawn. We designed these with slate insets so that the drinks can be set on the drink rail itself. The stools came from First Dibs, which is a terrific resource. The ceiling is a curved Doug fir beadboard ceiling. And let's step down into the bar. So what's so fun about this bar first is obviously the Chicago brick is used again. The horizontal V-groove to give it a more nautical feel and playful feel. One of the elements that is a lot of fun, if you follow me, is that behind the interior wood shutter, we play darts. Isn't that great? The double-story volume was created for two reasons: for the drama of the space, but also to integrate it back into the guest suite, which is located above. There are windows that connect that suite into this space. So I asked if we could do a little hidden stair that went down into the wine room. So welcome to the wine dining room. This dining room has been designed with all Chicago brick veneer, cut and mitered on all the groin vaults that you see in the ceiling. This was probably about 8 months of masonry work. The furniture was set up so that it can be combined together to create one long dining area. It was recently used for a wedding in the family, and the client allowed us to introduce this very large circular window and dining banquette area so that smaller groups could come down. Beyond through the circular window, you're actually seeing the conditioned wine cellar itself. So let's move that way. You go into a dark monochromatic built-in room. It is temperature controlled and obviously contains a very large volume of beverage. There is a theater room that's located down in the basement of the home. You always enter from its level floor that's level to the outside at the door, and then you tier a series of wood frame steps that allow you to platform your seating. So obviously there is a large 120-inch screen wall. All of the elements of technology are hidden other than seeing that piece. The walls are fabric acoustically paneled, but we got to select the fabric that was used in those panels, which is great. This is the mudroom of the house. It's located on one end of the home and it connects by an open breezeway to the 3-car garage. This space is larger than typical for a mudroom, so we had the great opportunity to actually turn it into a multifunctional room. Your typical built-in cubbies for exactly what you see, the shoes, the coats, the gloves, etc. Small pantry, using actually the old-time steel screening as a different character. Here's a small little powder room here with wonderful dog wallpaper. We've also brought into this room a large kind of outside potting flower space. You can see that it stores firewood, but at the same time, it's the opportunity for doing a lot of flowers and plants. We incorporated all kinds of materials and beautiful light fixtures above the window walls, which gives it a completely different character than what you historically think of as a mudroom. We're in the guest bedroom, which is on the opposite end of the house from the master suite. The starting point for me on this was that the bedroom, obviously the sleeping area, usually takes the most significant view. So this space is the sleeping area, and it connects to the water through the French doors and to an outdoor deck. This is a piece that we picked up at High Point, and I love integrating antique elements. And we're not talking about collector elements, we're talking about affordable antiques with new components. Creates a real wonderful warmth to it. I love the use of interior windows. Interior windows are a way to transfer natural light from the outside to the inner core of the home, and a way to transfer your view from the inner core of the home to the outside. I do a lot of interior windows in my homes. Then when you enter into what I basically call the functional space, this room, the fun thing about this room is it connects to the bar. So if we turn and look, you're going to see all the timber frame. So thus the reason we use the Doug fir color on the windows, so that these spaces would be tied together. I asked my client if I could elevate a banquette so that if someone was sitting at the table and working on their laptop, they still have full view of the water, which is what I'm seeing from here as well. And I accomplished that by lifting this piece up. This is the guest bathroom. It is a stunning room, completely and entirely encased in Calcutta marble, which is one of the most expensive marbles that you can actually use. There is no closet in this suite. These are the built-ins that represent the closet, obviously. The mirror is used so that it becomes a dressing room unto itself. And then further, the steel bars are put on the top because this is where you lay your suitcases. So as you step a little further and see the tiny little toilet room, this is where we used a fun wallpaper. Although relatively quiet, it's still a beautiful gray on white. And the rain head and wall fixture explode with water. This is a laundry room. Washer and dryer with folding counter above, hanging above that, as well as built-in storage and laundry baskets. Hex wall tile. But I think one of my favorite components of this house is what I'll call the self-serve open closet. As you spin around, what you're going to see, you're not going to see a closet door. You're not going to see an attempt to try to hide this. You're seeing a very well organized closet that allows all the guests in the house to come and take anything that they need. And should they forget their soap or their shavers or their water or their shampoo, here it is, all readily available to them. So you're in the third floor bunk room. There are two bunk rooms that actually basically match each other. One is the girls' end. You're in the girls' room now. It's turquoise color. The boys' is navy blue. This is a room that sleeps 7 people, single stacked, singles along the top, and obviously a double on the bottom. At each bunk is a controllable switch light. bunk is not about sleeping, bunk is about a party. And so to have a party, you want to keep a visual connection between the head locations, the sleeping ends of all of those bunks, so that everybody can tell stories. There's lots of whimsical moments from hidden objects that make the home quite unique. The end result of this for my client is the completion of a lifelong dream. This is a gentleman who has worked 25, 28 years very hard to grow a company from what was a local company to an international company, single ownership. And through that entire journey, he dreamed of this compound. How I feel is incredibly proud and honored to be involved and to be given the opportunity to use my creative mind at the highest level.
People hire Vanillawood because we're really fun to work with. We're extremely collaborative. We're very approachable. Interior design, we really understand the entire process from the very beginning concept to the very end finish, which is something that saves a lot of time and money and headache for our clients. We definitely don't take ourselves too seriously, and I would say we really create personalized sanctuary. My name is Christina Kim. I am the principal and co-owner of Vanillawood. We are located in Lake Oswego, which is right outside of Portland, Oregon. We are in Southwest Portland in a beautiful residential neighborhood where there are a lot of ranch houses, one-level homes, which is not always easy to find in Portland. And this is actually the second time that we have been working with this family because we worked on their first remodel years ago. Vanillawood got started with this project when our clients came to us and said that they were ready to do an addition and a remodel of their home. The house in its previous incarnation, when we had worked on the project before, had much more of a kind of Palm Springs, mid-century vibe. And the client really wanted to bring a more organic, sort of softer, more natural woods and a little less glam. So this time around, we pivoted and I think we really delivered with the infusion of textures. We kept the palette really neutral with the contrast of the dramatic black, and that sort of plays out throughout the house. So from the minute you walk into this space, you can just feel how light and bright and airy it is, which is something we really love about the house, and definitely the homeowners do too. The floor-to-ceiling windows that you see throughout the house. Here's the formal living room where you're open out onto the pool, where we did this rose gold mirror, which is, we always joke, it's sort of like the perfect filter for your face, but it gives a sort of tampered down, mirrored effect and makes the room feel bigger and really bounces light and is just a great design element to any space. Doing custom casework in the space allows you to feature your story. It's curated to tell your story. It has objects, it has photographs, and really you can see from the beginning what the color palette of this house is, which is just a lot of texture and different materials, but in a very creamy, earthy color palette, which we love. Then we walk through to the dining room, which features this custom handmade macrame rope installation. We love doing a mix of not only paintings, but textural, sculptural art pieces for installation, and we're really in love with this rope. It's really soft, it's really unexpected, and in the evening, and actually in the daytime, it creates all these really cool shadows. One of our favorite features of this house is this custom wallpaper by Drop It Mod, a locally owned, women-owned business, which is something we always look to collaborate with women-owned businesses. And we created this custom color, which is now called the Vanillawood color for this project. Our client was really clear that she wanted something really soft and organic, and Drop It Modern really delivered. This is a custom table that we used a porcelain slab that has a marble-like feel, which is just cool. It has movement, and then we brought in some organic texture with the rattan on the chairs, keeping it light and bright. And like a lot of contemporary homes, this is all open plan. So you come into the family room that has the stunning fireplace with the custom black Ansax tile, which was something that we wanted to incorporate something really dramatic to ground the space, and Ansax really delivered with this cool tile. I think one dilemma when designing a space is what to do with the proverbial giant screen, flat screen TV in every house. So our solution to sort of visually hide the big flat screen TV when it's not on was to select a blackened reclaimed wood from a company here in the Pacific Northwest that deconstructs old buildings and reuses the wood and gives it a special charred wood feature. We love the idea of using reclaimed materials, but when the TV's off, it really visually just kind of disappears. Otherwise, it becomes the dominating sort of visual that nobody really wants to see, but everybody really wants in their space. So just a trick of the trade. One of the requests from the client was they wanted an indoor play space for their young children. And we get a lot of rain here, so playing outside isn't always a fun option. So this really cool indoor playroom was added, which is every kid's dream. One of the things we learned when doing our own house, when we created a space, because I have 3 boys, was that when you have an indoor play area and you have these beautiful walls, balls and kids are going to destroy it. So we were able to source some white gym mats, which are basically padded walls for this space, and balls can be thrown at it and you don't have to worry about your kids just having at it in here. We've got a basketball hoop. Bikes can be ridden in here when it's raining outside, but it's completely light and bright with these beautiful windows. If you flip around to the beautiful kitchen, we chose an organic looking light fixture to sort of ground the kitchen and add a little bit of warmth to all of the white. And then further along, we walk into the eating kitchen, which is where the family gets to enjoy a lot of their meals. And we're continuing with the theme of the black and the light wood. We have a hidden beverage fridge and a hidden ice maker here. And we wanted to do something really cool and dramatic on the backsplash. So we chose this handmade concrete Ansax tile, which just gives it this really cool pop. And what's really cool is from the courtyard, when you're outside, you look in and you see this like very dramatic moment, and it flows right to the outdoor space, the covered barbecue area. Having a covered outdoor barbecue entertainment space is something that really exploded during the pandemic. Obviously here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of rain, so having a covered space is imperative. So here we have this really cool barbecue outdoor kitchen, and then one of our favorite spaces in this whole house is this outdoor living room with this incredible fireplace that we used this awesome three-dimensional tile. Again, with the texture, but keeping with the same color palette. But this is probably one of my favorite spaces in the whole house. So we have space heaters up in the ceiling. We have really cool, very comfortable outdoor furniture from Harbor Outdoor, one of our favorite outdoor furniture vendors. This is a custom fire pit that was designed to create another space outside using Brown Jordan outdoor chairs, which again, the color palette throughout the house is uniform and the same, but there's a lot of visual and textural interest everywhere you look. But if you're looking for me, I'm gonna be right here staring at this cool fireplace, hanging out on this sofa. So as you can see, this outdoor space is incredible. There's so many places to hang out and entertain. We have a putting green over here. Using turf has become really popular, especially with all the rain that we have here. It just is evergreen and there's low maintenance. You don't need irrigation. So more and more people are using, especially in drought intolerant states like California, turf is becoming the de facto grass in all residential projects. There is plenty for every kid to do out here, including a basketball hoop. There's space to kick balls, and then you can see that there is the guest house and the main house, but they're really tied together by this exterior outdoor courtyard, which is pretty dope. So now we're in the casita, which is separate from the main house. This was new construction. This allows for the clients to host guests or for future parents to age in place, which is something that more and more clients are asking for. Because it's just secondary space, we went with really simple, affordable surfaces in the kitchenette. But one of our favorite features is the lime plaster on this wall right here. Lime plaster is becoming very popular, and there's some really important reasons why we love to use it. One, it has this really beautiful organic hand troweled effect, which we like to say it's kind of like a warm hug, but it has sound dampening properties. It also helps purify the air, which are all really important properties to introduce into a living space. So limestone plaster, we love to use on fireplaces, but more and more you're seeing it on all the walls in houses, which is beautiful. So powder bathrooms are a place where we really like to be bold and have fun and use wallpaper, because what else are you doing except for hanging out in the bathroom? And this is not your bedroom where you're trying to sleep and create like calmness. It's like the jewelry of the house. This is the primary bedroom, and we wanted to create something around this really beautiful mirror that is from Bali. It's charred teak wood, and it's really just kind of the central feature of this bedroom. So we kept the palette really clean and a mix of black and white. The fireplace was a new addition during the remodel, and this is an Ansax tile that is handmade locally here in Portland, and it has just a really cool texture and visual interest, but still keeps a really clean palette. And then we did a little bit of movement on the rug, which kind of creates a coziness for the whole room. We did a custom bed with a beautiful linen fabric and kept the whole color palette in here really sort of muted and soft. The original design of the house had this interesting sort of pony wall that was open, and in order to give a little bit more privacy to the bathroom, we added this frosted glass wall. We didn't want to do like another drywall wall because it felt really sort of boxed in. So this was a cool way to create privacy but keep it sort of visually feeling open to the space. We added this cool makeup station so that there was a space to sit down and relax and put your makeup on, which Who doesn't want that? And then in the bathroom, we introduced a natural stone from Ann Sachs and this really cool, dramatic, textural tile in black to create just this real wow factor with a floating bench, which we love. And this double height ceiling with the skylights was original to the house. And we weren't really sure, how do we soften the space? So we introduced these really cool lights that add drama and sort of a sculptural moment. I would summarize the end result of this project as something that I know the homeowners love coming home to every day. They say it, they're so appreciative and grateful, and that just makes us feel so incredible because we know that we did our job. And I know that they're gonna be making fabulous memories for years to come here, and it feels good to be able to deliver that.
People typically describe my work as the traditional Palm Beach look with a fresh twist. We're based in Palm Beach, Florida, but we work on projects all over. A lot of our clients have homes in the Northeast. We're getting a lot of projects in the Bahamas, out west, in Sun Valley, Idaho, as well as South Carolina. I try to infuse a younger look to the traditional Palm Beach, infusing a little bit of contemporary and modern. One project that I recently completed was Michael Jordan's golf club, Grove 23 in Hobe Sound, Florida. And we worked closely with him as if it's sort of his second home. I am Caitlin Kay, and the name of my firm is Caitlin Kay Interiors. Today we are in Palm Beach, my wonderful client's home in town, close to Worth Avenue, so they can shop and walk to the Colony and grab a coffee. When we build a project of the spec home, we work really closely with the developer, architect. Everything is pretty neutral, no wallpaper, simple window treatments. The new owner had a lot of wonderful ideas, and we did too, and this is sort of the end product of that. His main goal was wallpaper. I have an amazing wallpaper installer. We picked out all the wallpaper in basically a month, and we left no surface untouched. We layered window treatments. We started to change out rugs. Lighting was a really big deal. And then we really came down to changing out the furniture. Always like to start with a walkthrough, and if it's a new construction house, I love to do it at the job site, even if there's no house there or if there's an old house that's being knocked down, because I really think there's something about doing it in the space that's really important if it's possible. From there, we do what we call a design kickoff meeting, fabrics, furniture, rugs, and I also sort of call it like my reactionary meeting to see like how the clients react and what they gravitate towards. This home has a few instances where there are 20 to 30 foot ceilings. When this was just stark white drywall, it felt cold and not super inviting. So we added wallpaper here. It's by Armani. It's actually a faux bois pattern, so it sort of brings a little warmth to look like wood paneling, but in a more artistic way. And it really makes the space feel cozy, puts the whole room into perspective, and you still feel the expanse of the ceilings, and it has so much natural light, but at the same time, it feels warm and cozy. The kitchen has a Cristallo quartzite. We again changed it from two pendants to one gorgeous long Lindsay Adelman chandelier, and then the staircase chandelier was a labor of love by Sarah in California. The formal living room was the first room that we really dove in with the furniture. What we had here before was really squared off sofas, rattan chairs, a little more classic Palm Beach, and I would say he's a bit more sophisticated than that. So we went to Holly Hunt and we used these stunning channel back sofa that had a nice curve to them to soften the space. Silk and wool rug, amazing drapery that does not detract from the light or the view. The finishing touch was 10 coats of Fine Paints of Europe high gloss lacquer that really finished off the space. We did lacquer because the ceiling was so white and massive. We thought, we've done wallpaper on the ceilings, we've sort of done it all. Let's do something different and let's define this space with something that isn't happening in any of the other rooms. The contrast between sort of the matte texture of the wallpaper and then this beautiful, shiny, almost watery feel, especially being on the water, reflects light in a stunning way that just plain drywall doesn't do. The dining room, we first ordered this amazing Armani dining table. You can seat 12 people, he can have amazing dinner parties, entertain all of his family. Did Venetian plaster on the ceiling in there to really give it a layered look and a little more matte because we have a gorgeous chandelier in there. The lighting was really important for us to transform and really take to the next level. Lighting is one of my favorite things. Each lighting sort of defines the space. In the dining room previously, there were 2 long pendants. We changed it to 1 linear pendant since we added such a long dining table. I think the lighting really sets the mood, it sets the tone. The powder room, a custom Han and Sherry, it's more of a texture and it looks almost hand painted. And of course we had to lacquer the trim. We lacquered the vanity as well. We chose the lacquer because it's a powder room and you've got to go all out in a powder room always. It's a small space and it's really an opportunity to take a risk. The lower level was sort of the most barren of the spaces. It's such an incredible bonus space that we really wanted to maximize it. The homeowner wanted to install this very large-scale fish tank. We used the same company who did all the millwork throughout and designed the kitchen. They also drew up a design for the fish tank to make it feel super integrated and almost as if it was always here. And then we back painted the glass in a custom Benjamin Moore color. And the result is this really big wow factor and wow moment when someone comes down the stairs to the lower level and they're surprised with a giant fish tank. The guest bedroom was meant to be a just sort of serene escape from the primary bedroom. It's almost opposite. It's neutral, the color still envelops you, but it's not the same depth and richness of color. And the ceiling, the millwork detail on there is really beautiful and it's very calming and it's sort of nice to know that you do have that if you need it. The second guest bedroom, one of my favorite things in there is the window seat. It has this big, beautiful window, and you can sort of cozy up on the window seat and read a book. And it's off the back staircase, so it's really private, very quiet. The third guest bedroom has a beautiful Elite Industries upholstered bed with a Count and Tout fabric that's one of my favorites. It's textural, woven. When I worked on it with the developer, and all we did was add a beautiful textured wallpaper. And you have a little peek of the ocean out of those windows, which is nice. Greenery out the windows, so you sort of feel like you're up in the trees. One of the things we do when designing a house that is all white walls is we add textured wallpaper. It's a high impact item, and that can transform a space and make it incredibly cozy. This wallpaper is Philip Jeffries. It has sort of a linear design to it, but still a nice heavy textural weave. The primary bedroom is probably one of my favorite bedrooms I've ever designed. It's very different from my typical serene blue and white bedroom. We really dove deep into color. You walk into the space and you almost feel like you're on a boat, you're on the second story, you have this amazing view of the ocean. The room almost gives you a hug because you look everywhere and you see the same thing. The primary bathroom was an extension of the bedroom. We really wanted to carry it through. We used the same color, but in a different pattern in the bathroom. So it was distinctive, but still really cohesive. And then we painted it out as well to match the primary bedroom. You have this view of the ocean. I would say the end result is warm, neutral, layered, comfortable. He loves to entertain, loves having his friends and family. So really welcoming as well, and sort of a reflection of him and his personality. And I love showing people this house. I have a really deep connection to this project.
I think people come to us because we are a small firm. We have an incredible attention to detail. Every project is very different. It's really based on what the client wants, the architecture, and it's really about customer service. Other people in the industry would describe it as approachable, certainly colorful. We love color. Very detailed, bespoke. I love details. So whatever we can do to add details, as they say, the details make the project. Scott Sanders, and I am the owner of Scott Sanders LLC, an interior design firm. We are based in New York City and Palm Beach. Today we are in East Hampton, in my home that I share with my husband and my mini dachshund. So this part of East Hampton is, well, some people call it the Springs, overlooking Montauk and Gardiner's Island. It is 6 stories up off of Gardiner's Bay, and so it really affords these incredible sweeping views. At one point this area was called Spyglass Hill. We wanted something that felt that it had sort of been added on to over time, which is how we got to sort of this series of buildings. And then we had this sort of running joke that we wanted the front of the house to look like the Cotswolds and the back of the house to look more like the English countryside. This has been a labor of love, and any labor of love is very time consuming. So we bought the property almost 9 years ago, and it took 6 years, but it was worth the wait. Welcome to my home. Come on in. So this is the entryway. Obviously we wanted to have a wow factor because of the water, but I also wanted to give the guest an opportunity to kind of just walk in, have a calming moment. That's why I kept the walls white. One of my favorite things about this entryway is the Dutch door. I've always loved them, and I wanted to figure out how to incorporate it into my own house. And then I thought, well, instead of a back door, it should really be the front door, because there's something about a Dutch door that is just super inviting. And we did it in a Fine Paints of Europe super high gloss navy. The floors are very light wood. It's a bleached European white oak. And then we have some of our favorite paintings. There's a piece by Donald O'Dilly, and there's an incredible piece by Anne Newcamp. But really, it's about the view and then the staircase. The idea of the staircase being sweeping was you really wanted your eye to sort of continue as opposed to stopping. And at the very last minute, I put this in because it seemed like, oh, why not put this here? It felt like the Hamptons, but at the same time, I found when we have parties, people sitting here and looking out, which is fantastic. My powder room. I think it's always nice to have a sort of jewel box for your guests. What I love about this is it has a wonderful nautical feel to it. The wallpaper is CNC Milano, and then all the fixtures and the plumbing are waterworks. This is a little vestibule that leads to our den and to the downstairs guest bedroom. This is from the 70s, and especially at night, he's pretty popular when people come over. The walls are Philip Jeffries grass cloth. It's one of my favorite wallpaper companies. I wanted a lot of texture in this space since it's small. in our den, primarily for watching TV, but also I love games. I love card games, board games, so I have a game table. Orange is my second favorite color, and so kind of an awning striped rug, which has a nod to being at the beach. Everyone loves a sectional sofa. I use them in every project because multifunctional. 2 people can lay down in it, 4 people can lay down in it. I've had 7 people in here watching TV. It's great because these chairs spin, so it's almost like a little media room, but it doesn't really look like that. I love Samsung Art TVs. I use these in every project. I can put a family photo, I can put a Matisse. It's a conversation piece, but it also just doesn't become this black box on your wall. We live in Palm Beach 6 months of the year, so why not bring a little Palm Beach to this room? So the walls are actually Pecky cypress, and I actually hand chose each board so that basically the cottage cheese component, which is the ones that are super, super detailed, are not on every board. And then we stained it sort of a warm honey color to kind of work with the rattan furniture, which also reminds me of Palm Beach. It's super important when you are considering using paneling, especially on the walls, is how much detail you want. And it's not just about the individual detail of the boards, but then also the thickness of the boards, because it obviously can become very busy very quickly. You know, by putting the big photographs in, it breaks it up. The doors are faux painted, so they have the same coloration, but they're less detailed, so it's kind of a calming moment. Because it's our den, we spend a lot of time here, either watching TV or playing games. So I thought it made sense to kind of create a little bar space. It doesn't have to be a huge bar, but it has all the necessary things. I have the trash here. These are actually refrigerator drawers, which are hidden in behind. They look like cabinetry. And it's like a nice little moment. People think that you need this huge space, but the reality is in this tiny little space, I have a very, very functional bar. So this is a living room, dining room. I really like combining them, especially in a house where it's about entertaining and it's more casual. Cocktail hour and your dinner are all in the same room. It makes it really kind of flow. And I created 2 seating areas. You know, if there's just 2 people talking, I actually take naps in here. I love to sit by the window and read. I designed the sectional. You know, vintage Knoll table, a Saarinen table is, there's nothing better than that. The dining table is vintage. The base is a vintage Plattner piece from Wyeth. I did it in a dark brown Ceruste. The light fixture is custom designed. It's from Orange Furniture in LA. It's quite really, really beautiful, and at night when you turn it on, it just glows. And then this is the larger seating area. A lot of this furniture was from different homes, and I reupholstered a lot of it. But the idea was to keep the palette very neutral with pops of blue, and to create a space where you could have 8 or 10 people here. The room is grounded by this rug. I did it in conjunction with Saco carpets. The idea of it is that they are waves, and since we're on the water, the colors sort of change. It really expands the room, but at the same time, it has this sort of grounding feel to it. I think what is most successful is that people come in and they feel very comfortable, and they want to sit down, they want to have a glass of wine, and they don't really want to leave. And I think, to me, that's a room that is timeless and it's approachable. Now we're going to head out to my favorite room, the screen porch. And I spend a lot of time out here. We entertain a lot out here. My idea for this was not only just to sort of celebrate and enjoy this view, but it has a lot of memories. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, and my grandmother had the most amazing screen porch. And it worked out that I got her antique Bar Harbor wicker. So most of the wicker is from the 20s and 30s. She had actually inherited it from a relative before, so it's been in the family for almost 100 years. I wanted it to feel fresh in here though and different, so I decided to paint all of it this beautiful pale blue. And I thought, well, I wanted to make it timeless, but at the same time I wanted something fun. So I paired it with an outdoor Saarinen table. And then I didn't want more wicker. So we found these amazing cane chairs in Palm Beach and paired those with that. And a Serena and Lily lamp and lots of plants. And now we're gonna head to the kitchen. Welcome to our kitchen. It's a very large space. We deliberately wanted it to not only be big, but also to have this tall ceiling. And the idea of that is to get the light from both sides. So we get this incredible morning light and the sunrise is coming in, and then we get the afternoon sun coming in over the breakfast room table. The kitchen is designed so that there's sort of a multifunctional. This is our bar. I wanted to have lacquered cabinets, but I wanted them to mix with something else. And I thought since we were gonna do lacquer, I wanted to do a color that had sort of a reminiscence of the water. So most days it's sort of seamless with this incredible blue. And because we're up in the Springs and there's a lot of trees and a lot of wood, I didn't want to do white cabinets. I wanted something that felt a little warmer and a little richer. So we did this wonderful, it's European white oak, and we had it stained. And this is a color that we've used through the house, this sort of warm honey color. So we found these soapstone slabs that were quite unique, and I love this veining detail. There is a secondary prep area for people, if you're cooking. I use this where I make my homemade ice cream. I personally love having a breakfast room or a table in the kitchen. So I created this space. It's nicely divided by this second island, so it feels like its own space, but it's still part of the kitchen. So I wanted to have this sort of modern version of a kind of an American china cabinet, but I wanted it to feel fresh and interesting. So I actually designed this. So instead of it being wood, we lacquered it to kind of match the bar. And then in a very distinct way, we created this sort of vignette, but I use these things, so it's not just aesthetically pleasing. It's really a wonderful way to store your items, but also make them beautiful. One of the issues that always comes up with clients is storage. Appliance storage. Where do you put the giant juicer? Where do you put the toaster? And a lot of people like to have them out, but I also think it's nice to kind of have them have a specific space. And also if you like to cook, you need your countertop. So behind this hidden door, we took a small space and we created this really super functional pantry. It doesn't take up a lot of space, but boy, does that come in handy. Most of our clients want at least one bar in their house, if not more. And I love creating bars for people. And they're very bespoke, and it's really about what you want and how you want your bar to kind of feel and how to use it. For this bar, I didn't want a lot of things out, and I didn't want to sort of obstruct the view, but I wanted it to be functional. So even though it just looks like a row of cabinets, it's actually incredibly thought out. This side are glasses for alcohol, and the alcohol is in here. And then we have our ice maker. I have cocktail napkins. I have refrigerator drawers. I have backstock on mixers, wine cooler, wine, and wine glasses. And it's all hidden, but all super easy to get to. This is my mini dachshund, Bailey. She's 12 years old. And Bailey is the inspiration for all of the dachshund accessories around the house that people give us because they know how much we love Bailey. And this is our outdoor dining room and living room. This is really where we spend, in the summer, the weekends with our guests, or just the two of us, three of us. It's a wonderful Sutherland table, and we have an outdoor kitchen, and then this one really cozy outdoor seating area with the Janus AC furniture. So this is a wonderful place to sit in the afternoon. We also like to entertain here, have cocktails before we have dinner. The fireplace makes it super cozy in the fall. Also, you can just sit here and read the paper and enjoy the view. This is really, the most beautiful spot. The idea for the pool is really to have this sense of it just going into the grass, which is why it has the infinity edge. And we, instead of using stone or pavers or bluestone, we really wanted this deck feeling to give it more of a kind of you're in the woods feel, a more casual feel. And it, with the grass coming through it, it just has a nice, easy feel to it. From the house, you really don't get a sense of how far up we are off of the beach. It's 93 steps down, or 6 stories, and it feels more to me like Northern California than East Hampton, but it's incredibly special and so beautiful. So one of the spaces that I really appreciative of is my cutting garden, and I use this almost every day. And it is herbs and flowers. And the soil in the Hamptons is just incredible. Like anything grows, it's just like a miracle. But it's also super functional. Like we're having fish for dinner and I can come out and cut a little basil. I use the mint for my ice cream. And you'll see as we're going through the house, these are on the kitchen table. Let's go see the upstairs guest bedroom. So I love designing guest bedrooms for my clients, so it was really a treat to be able to do it for myself. This one is, it's not a huge guest bedroom, but I wanted it to feel like a suite, so we deliberately created this little vestibule, which also acts as sort of a dressing room. The closet is here, the bathroom is there, we have the luggage rack here. There's a dresser for people to put clothes away. And then, we styled it with this really beautiful Philip Jeffries grass cloth, a vintage mirror, and inviting accessories. So come in and see the room with the view. So the idea of this room is really to capture the view, a 4-poster bed in rope, which from Palachuk, it's one of my favorite beds. I've used this for clients and I always wanted to use it for myself. I think every guest room should have a desk, so people come for the weekend, they need to work, there's some place for them to sit. I like to trick it out. You need pencils, you need paper, a blotter, you need a comfortable chair for people to sit and read, you need some good books, some good magazines, and a super comfortable bed with lots of pillows. I'd like to show you my office now. I did clean it up for you today. It really reflects kind of everything that I've collected for the last 50 years. So there's a lot of things in here. It makes me very happy. A lot of my collections are here. Blue and white collection, pieces of art that really mean a lot to me. But the idea of this room is really sort of to have, again, a connection from the bedroom across the hall. Blue, vaulted ceiling, capture the light with the big windows. We positioned the desk in the middle really so that I can actually get a view of the water, but also just when I can see people coming in, which I think is important when you're in your office. You don't want to have your back to people coming in. When we were designing this house, I was going to think about resale. So this is actually a guest bedroom that could be turned over if someone wanted to use as the bedroom. And behind that closet is what would have been a bathroom, but is actually my storage room. And that is where I have my files, That's where I have my printer. And I think that when you're creating a home office, you want it to have if it's in your house, you want it to have a residential feel. So when you walk in there, it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm in my office. So when we do this, we try to hide a lot of the sort of, things that are, not so attractive, but are very necessary. So super organized in there and sort of very warm and residential out here. And then again, this sort of reflects my personality and the way I design. This is a newer piece. Love the vintage rattan chairs, the Edward Wormley vintage desk from Dunbar. That's actually a Ralph Lauren table. And so it's a nice eclectic new glass table. So it's a nice eclectic mix. These little Dutch houses, which I became obsessed with a few years ago. They're from KLM, and you actually get them when you fly on KLM. I believe in business and first, and you get a little house, and they are all numbered, and they have all sort of really incredible detail to the architecture of these houses. So I had a few, and then a few people gave me some, and then I became obsessed, and I just went to eBay and bought more. So then I'm like, well, what are you going to do with these houses? So a windowsill becomes kind of the perfect location for my little village. And it is a instant conversation piece when people come in. They're like, wait a minute, I've seen these. And then we have to have a whole conversation about how did I get so many? And no, I did not fly KLM like 25 times. They're actually probably 40 times. I also have my own personal art in here. So this is actually me. It's a self-portrait, and my mother dated it, and I was 6 years old. And my friends joke that I have more or less the same glasses, the same haircut, and pretty much the same blue pants. Although today they're green. But makes me very happy. My mother found it about 15 years ago and sent it to me. I'd like to show you my bedroom. It's nice when you don't just walk right into the bedroom, but you actually walk into, it could be a hallway, a vestibule, a sitting room. This is our bedroom. I wanted to sort of depart from the lighter blue shades of the house, and I wanted to use a different color. I used gray because a lot of the times the water is actually very gray. So it kind of has a nice pulling in the water, and my husband loves the color gray. And then I did the navy because I thought it was a nice kind of crisp departure, and also it has a nautical feel. This is a room that has new pieces and vintage pieces. This is actually called the S chair. My name is Scott, my husband's middle name is Scott, so we call it the S chair, and it was designed by a cabinet maker that I work with. And then I've mixed in vintage pieces. It's just a Knoll vintage bench that is upholstered in gray cashmere. One of my favorite chairs. I love this chair. It has the original leather on it, slightly cracked, but I think it gives it more, so it has more age to it. This is a great Ralph Lauren chair. I love the feel of this. It feels very nautical. We're next to the water. It has this sort of very masculine feel to it. And then next to it is actually a holly hunt table. And then this is really something special. We had this in an apartment in New York, and when we moved, we took it. It's by a spectacular gentleman artist by the name of Erwin Hauer, and he creates these screens, and this is pressed MDF, and it's laser cut. And it was originally a screen that slid back and forth, and then we were coming here, and I thought, this is an incredible wall. Why don't I just put the screen back together and hang it as a feature? With the vestibule, I thought I wanted to create yet another one before walking from the bedroom directly in to the bathroom. So I like creating these spaces. I also like reusing furniture. And I think there's a really important way that you can repurpose things, give them a new life, and a little bit of saving the planet. So this was a Chinese cabinet that used to be red and was in our house, previous home, and I had it lacquered, this beautiful pale gray. And instead of building a giant wall of cabinetry, this is actually our linen closet. In keeping with the sort of the nautical feel, this is the sink area of our bathroom. I did shiplap on the walls. Waterworks, really, really beautiful. And then they are Roburn cabinets with a custom frame around them. The result of the project is that it couldn't be better. We just love it. We love it every day. I walk around and I feel very blessed that I live here and that I got to design something with my husband. We have very like-minded opinions, and I see both of us, which is great.
We're known for our modern, eclectic mix of furnishings, luxurious furnishings, things that we like to say are built for the eye but made for comfort. We love the beauty of marble. People typically say our work is clean, modern, eclectic. I am Michelle Gerson, and my firm is Michelle Gerson Interiors. Our firm is based in New York City, and we work on projects all over the United States. You name it, we'll go there. Today we are in Bridgehampton, New York, at a home that we built from the ground up with the homeowners. We did everything with this house. We got to go with them to pick out their windows, their doors, exterior, interior. Two of the most important factors in building a house are the windows, because I think they really are the soul of the house, especially in a beach house. It's what brings the outside in. And another thing that I think is really important to spend on is your floors. When you walk into a house and they have a beautiful wide plank floor, you notice it immediately. The whole entryway was a mathematical equation. We picked this really beautiful chandelier from Okra. It took us a long time to figure out, and we mocked up a bunch of stuff to see where we wanted the chandelier placed, at what height we wanted it to finish, where we wanted the wall panels to be, how to make the wall panels look like they were all the same size. The client also added some special pieces to the foyer, which was a Johnny Abrahams piece of art. There's an organic, beautiful piece of furniture from Bali that we purchased from Adriana Shamaras. And there's a collectible Wendell Castle chair that's wrapped in gold leaf and resin. And the staircase itself has a glass stair rail, which was really important because we wanted to be able to showcase the wall panels, the angle of the steps, and the art. The first thing we designed in the living room was a feature wall, which goes from the living room to the family room, which is made from a fluted cerused oak and bronze metal, which frames the fireplace. Both the living room and the family room have television sets in them, which we embedded into the fluting. The clients wanted to be able to use their living room like a family room if they were having a party. They wanted people to be able to watch a football game. The next thing we decided was what art we were putting in the room. So we basically picked the art pieces before we even designed the room. We knew that everything was gonna focus on both the fluted wall and the art wall. So we picked a rug customized for them by Rug Art. They're Vladimir Kagan sofas that are made from a fabric from Castell that's very durable. It's an alpaca mohair. It's comfortable, it's softer than a regular wool mohair. Here we are in the kitchen, the real heart of the home. We added in a beautiful Calicut Gold marble from Artistic Tile. They're very clean slabs with a beautiful, strong white background, which is not always easy to find. And we paired it with a gray cerused oak island. We layered in some bronze metal, which we then tie into the family room. And we added these amazing geometric square fixtures, which have these LED lights that light up all around all the edges and create a really cool focal point. We added a shiplap texture to the cabinets, which I think really helps make the cabinets not look like your average white kitchen. A lot of people are very afraid to use a real marble surface in their home, but have no fear. There are lots of things you can do. A, you could leave your marble alone, clean it every couple of years or have it sanded out. But in this home, we covered the island and the flat surfaces that people would be working on with tough skin, which is a very, very fine layer of material that protects your stone. Here we are in the dining room. One of the first things that we decided to do in the dining room was to use a very special artist to create this sort of ombre / mid-morning fog burning off effect on the walls. It's all done by hand. The artist's name is Heather Jozak. She's amazing. She really made our dreams come true in this dining room on the walls. We also added an amazing wine cellar. We had a little nook. It's not even deep enough to be a real closet that you could hang a coat in. And it's just about probably 18 inches deep, where a normal closet is 24 inches deep. We bought these panels from a company called Stacked, where you can buy the background in a variety of different colors, wood textures, things like that, and we combined them. Yet another math problem. We had these doors made from Manhattan steel doors. Voila, you got a wine cellar in the midst of the mid-morning fog. For this powder room, we used a beautiful slab of Calicut Viola from Artistic Tile. We created a sink from the slab, and then we did this very original broken joint down here, putting the mirror in between and then continuing it on up into the ceiling portion of the bathroom. And the other walls we wrapped in a beautiful Venetian plaster in a blush color. The clients and I went on a field trip to Artistic Tile to pick out slabs for the kitchen and the master bathroom. And while we were there, we fell upon this amazing panda marble, and a bar was born. The primary bedroom is a really special room for us because it features one of our pieces of furniture, which is our bubble bed. It has a really high, dramatic headboard, and it's made from a beautiful LET soft fabric. We designed the rug for the bedroom with Edward Fields. It's made out of a silky nylon that feels so sumptuous on your feet. And we also added in fabric wall covering from Philip Jeffries. It may not be common for a beach house to have textured walls with wall coverings, Venetian plaster, all those things, but a beach house I design, it is very common. This entire primary bathroom has 22 slabs of lilac marble, which we got from Artistic Tile. We laid them out on the floor and we put them together like a big puzzle. The husband of the couple that lives here picked out the lilac marble. He was the one that insisted on the marble. He has such a good eye, and he knew that this marble would make a great impact. My favorite thing to do, integrated sinks that are actually made out of lilac marble. And we added these beautiful lilac chagrin cabinet pulls from Alt for Living. When you walk into the bathroom at nighttime, you don't have to turn the lights on. When it senses that a person is in the bathroom, it lights up down here. so it doesn't really wake you up by turning on the lights, and you can still see where you're going. If you notice, we have true fig outlets. So the outlets are flat and flush to the walls, and they are then painted by Heather Jozak, our artistic painter, to look like it's marble, so you don't see an ugly outlet anywhere. Here's your candy drawer hack. If you want to make the drawer look like it's full without completely filling it with candy, when you're building your cabinetry, you just build a small slot in the front and leave space for the window, stick the candy inside, close the drawer, and it looks like it's filled with Skittles. You may be wondering why there's a bunch of candy here. That's because, voila, welcome to the movie theater. Movie theater with really good acoustics that make you feel like you're in a cave, and has sparkly carpet and big delicious beds to lay on. We used like really cool acoustical panels, and we had them cut out in different shapes, squares, whatever, and made it sort of look like a puzzle on the walls. We bought these great chairs, by the way. They look like they're super custom. We got these from Crate & Barrel. And you know at Crate & Barrel, you can customize using your own fabric, or you could use one of their fabrics. And we created this giant chaise lounge bed, and this room is probably one of the most favorite rooms in the house. The end result of this project is a house I want to move into. This house is like a cool, clean, fun space that has a lot of exciting elements to it, and it's a place you want to be.
Our projects are known to be easy breezy. It's a very carefree, like just an easy, relaxed feeling. And there's always a little bit of vintage. It's a little bit edgy. We're always trying to do something different and to top the last project that we did. And I know if I get house envy, then we did it. I'm very big on personal style of the client. There's always going to be some little vintage weirdo piece that reminds me of them. I'm like, here's the weird piece that reminds me of you. But I feel like that's what they want from me. They want a personalized experience, and they want a house that's not like everybody else's house. I'm Christina Kim, and I'm the owner of Christina Kim Interior Design, and our firm is based in Manasquan, New Jersey. Today, we're in beautiful Belmar, New Jersey, which is an hour south of Manhattan. We are on Inlet Terrace, which is a canal to the ocean. This was my pandemic baby. When we started this project, it was just paper. They were just plans. I mean, they were beautiful plans. North End Builders, Christina Kim Interior Design, and Mary Hearn as the architect, and we just sort of poured over those plans. We let ourselves dream a little bit. When you walk in, there's big, beautiful double doors. We actually doubled the size of the doors. It almost reminds me of a southern porch, that feeling of hospitality. Welcome, come on in. The foyer was the very first design idea that I had. Marble checkerboard floors are such a classic design element, but I wanted them to be the faded out quality. I did a cream with a soft blue-gray. The living room seating arrangement was really important because it really did have to be very comfortable. People have to be able to sleep on these sofas all through the night, and they do. The first thing that we did was design the custom marble fireplace. It's a little modern, it's a very old world material. We did use what I like to call a fashion marble, but it's an arabescado. So it almost reminds me of graffiti. And it's that movement that keeps things interesting, and we did it really like clean shape on it. Beam placement is something that I think adds a lot of character to a home, especially a new build, but they need to be planned out from the very beginning. Here you'll notice that we omitted any type of crown molding because we decided that we were gonna have beams, we're gonna have lots of beams, and they were gonna be more important than the crown. We had them finished exactly how we wanted them, and then had a local ironmonger make these custom beam straps for us. Just a little detail. These chairs are pallet check, and they're done in an outdoor fabric. We also did striped end tables from Made Goods, as well as lamps from Arteriors. The kitchen was the first major room that we designed. We often start with the kitchen, and we're there for a few weeks. We actually took out some cabinetry from the plans just to really focus on the natural light and to keep everything functional underneath. Everything would be from the waist down, and then it was about mixing materials. So we have our cutting board station here, and we kept everything as drawers. So yes, that is definitely a trend in kitchens today, but it is very, very useful, particularly if you're not that tall like me, but you don't have to travel very far for your knives. So in dining rooms, I almost always start with the lighting. Vintage Italian lighting from the 1970s. The lights are very light and airy. They almost remind me of feathers. And then designed a custom table from Aronson Woodwork. It was fashioned after a ping pong table. I just thought that whole feeling of relaxed luxury leisure, that made me smile. At any given moment, you could put the ping pong net up and, and play a game while you're watching the water. One of my favorite design elements is a display cabinet that we designed and built to display her grandmother's milk glass collection, and that made her happy. The pandemic presented a lot of challenges. Our timeline got extended, and at the end point of a project, that last quarter, your client is so wanting to move in and to see everything come together. And it's really important to say, hey, let's do this right. This is the last layer of finishes that go on that people are going to actually see. This is not the time to rush. So they trusted us like they did with every design decision, and then the result was just so great. The office design started from, I found this little green vintage lamp that I absolutely love. I marched it into Sherwin-Williams and I had them shoot the color. We swathed the walls in that green, the baseboard. We found a desk from a showroom sale and actually had it stripped down locally, so it was completely different. It was just like a dark espresso finish. Seeing that just naked wood, I said, keep it raw, which is exactly what we did. The music room was important. I wanted that to feel a little different than the rest of the house. So we have this blue and white wallpaper. The daughter is an accomplished musician, so she has her piano, she sings a twist on the classics, but if you turn, there's a big photo of Bruce Springsteen, who's Jersey Shore's answer to God. I feel like basements get a bad rap, but they can be quite elevated. We painted all those cabinets a custom color. I like to say it's a pistachio color. The bar opens up to all the outdoor space, so it's a pass-through bar. There's a custom pool table made with a tabletop, so that can double as a second dining room table. So the wine room is a special room. It's not that this wine room is so big, it's just very well considered. So traditionally, wine rooms are really dark. They could be dark wood or iron or moody. And this house is so light and airy, I didn't want it to feel like that. There's, a blue and white stripe wallpaper in keeping with the rest of the house, very modern coastal. So the mud room in this house is definitely a hard-working spot. The thing about the Jersey Shore that I love are there these old school locker rooms near the beach. So you find these wooden locker rooms that you can put your towels in, and you have your beach chairs up at the beach, and I wanted it to feel the same here. This is actually an iPhone pic. So it's our client's daughter who went to a concert, See Here Now in Asbury. Took this great iPhone pic and I just thought it'd be great to just blow that up. When I saw a built-in on the architectural plans, I was so excited. I knew exactly what I was gonna do. Boom, cabana towels. This is the daughter's room. So she's a college-age girl. We wanted to make sure that the room felt grown up enough and elevated enough, but still fun and still feminine. We have two vastly different ceiling heights. So here we kind of created this little alcove and decided to do the Philip Jeffries accent walls here. One, because as soon as you walk into the room, that's what you see. Don't have your feature wall behind you. It has to be in front of you. White oak desk, brass touches, killer view. So this is the primary bedroom. This room, I really wanted it to feel like a lake house. The light in this room is so incredible because you're facing the water. I did everything that I could to really accentuate that feeling. So how peaceful to wake up in a 4-poster bed and look at that. So my firm is asked often about wood ceilings. I bet you didn't know wood has a personality. It does. Pine to me is a very humble material. It has like a very cozy feel. And we asked our mill workers to put the faintest amount of whitewash. I actually even asked them to pare it back. Do less, do less. And then we ended up with this and it was just perfect. It's no secret that window treatment really finishes the room, but I encourage people to use color and to use pattern. So a small scale or a mid-scale, in this case a mid-scale pattern, feels really nice. If you're using a smaller or mid-scale, it will come off more as texture than a really jarring pattern, and it adds a very custom quality, and it's interesting. So here we're in the primary bathroom, and I just love that it's quiet. It's a very subtle bathroom. It's not ostentatious. A lot of times in a primary we'll use, a really fancy marble. But here we decided to go with something a little more interesting and subdued. So travertine. This is silver travertine, and if you look at it up close, it really reminds me of the shoreline. It's a really large shower, so I thought a really large format brick pattern tile would really be nice in here, and I love that they're glossy, and I love that they're milky. So the outdoors here are very deceiving. You usually don't get a lot of space up at the beach, but it's a big pie-shaped piece of land, and there is a covered dining area, multiple seating areas, a fireplace, a fire pit, a volleyball court, and a beautiful infinity pool. Everything about this house is focused on this view. So it was, again, really important that we had the perfect seating. What I really love about this sofa is that it feels almost like indoor furniture. It's gone are those boxy cushions. We did a knife edge. It's a detail maybe you don't notice right away, but it really feels elevated, and they look so comfortable because they are so comfortable. The end result of this project is exactly how I'd imagined. All those renderings and all of those nights thinking, is that fabric right? Does that pattern go with that? Is that the right marble? Like, it all came together and really was my vision executed.
When people come to me, they want traditional design, but something that's comfortable and really suited for a young family. They don't want to have to sacrifice style, but they want it to feel lived in and comfortable. When people describe a Jennifer Hunter project, they're always going to see lots of layers, textures, play on materials, and pops of color. I'm Jennifer Hunter, founder of Jennifer Hunter Design, and my firm is known for traditional design with a fresh take. Today we're in Bridgehampton, and this project is for a young family. It was a new build, and so we were hired after the construction to make this house a home. We really begin with the walls, I'd say, because everything is white, blank canvas. We bring in texture, grass cloth wallpaper, layers, carpets, artwork, window treatments to soften the space. The goal was speed here. We had 4 months to complete this project in the middle of a pandemic, so it was definitely a challenge, but we rose to the occasion and we really tried to find things that were ready-made, semi-custom. The flow is really amazing. You walk right in, your eye goes straight into the family room, which is also the breakfast room and the kitchen, and it's the main core of the house where the family hangs out. It's really in the accessorizing. We brought in fresh herbs, planted them, family photos, vintage runner. Bar stools are a great way to give some character and texture. We really needed to designate between the kitchen, the breakfast area, and the family room. So we did a long breakfast table that really could be their everyday dining space. It seats 10 people. We added some color through an oomph mirror that gives it a little pop. So there's this really great source, Books by the Foot, and you just describe the color palette of your design and what you're looking for, and you buy linear feet of books. So we said that the room has a lot of blue and white in it, and they sent us real books that are blue and white, and we just created groupings. So starting in the middle, we did a stack of books here and then tried to balance it throughout with other stacks in different directions, and filled in from there with vases, plants, boxes, and other objects to keep it interesting and balanced. This is the formal living room, and this is where they keep their Christmas tree. So it's really a cozy, family-oriented space. The walls have a gallery wall with family photos. There's a fireplace. This is the space that they gather in with friends. It's a little bit more formal, I'd say, but it's still really ties into the rest of the home. Color palette wise, there's the blue and white. There's also a lot of these natural textures like wood and rattan. The master bedroom is really an oasis for the clients. It's a huge space with very tall ceilings. So the first thing we did was add a grass cloth wallpaper. There was a lot of height and space in this room. We did double window treatments. We added wooden woven blinds coupled with stationary drapes, so you get that warmth. We also did a tall 4-post bed to bring up the height and fill the space. The daughter's room is one of my favorite spaces in the home. It's a bright pop of pink. They have 2 girls, and so we really wanted to infuse a lot of color, make it super girly. When I design a kid's room in this way, it means that it's always gonna age with the children. So I always look for fun things like embroidered linens, fun shapes in this lamp with the little nodes, different textures and nightstands, dressers, fun fabrics, great shapes. We look for fabrics that have color but aren't too childish. They have a little bit more of a sophisticated pattern. Kids' rooms should be really fun and have pops of color. Clients really, for some reason, aren't scared to go bolder in these spaces because they are kids and it is fun. The guest room is a fun space for when guests come to stay. The furnishings are super fun. We picked a great lilac fabric that's a little bit different from the rest of the home, which is blue and white. So it's a little bit of a surprise when you walk in there. I love the outdoor space here. It's a very substantial sized pool, and we really needed to create multiple seating areas so that it could fill in the space. The key when designing an outdoor space is to really ensure there's lots of different areas for people to enjoy themselves and for the client to entertain. Here we can have people swimming, lounging, making s'mores, dining, and having conversation. One of the things I try to do when looking for pool furniture is look for storage. It's such a pain to bring in your cushions every day. So we found these really awesome chaises where there's self-storage. So all you have to do is open the drawer and plop your cushions in each night. And ta-da! The end result of this house is really a beautiful space that has lots of layers, lots of character, comfortable, tailored to a young family who likes to entertain and host.
Because my background is not necessarily in interior design, it gives me a different perspective on what we're doing. People really like my fresh new approach to antiques and vintage. I think that I honor and pay homage to the past, but I breathe life into new spaces in a different kind of way. I'm really attracted to 1960s French space age, 1980s Memphis Milano, 1970s Italian and French design. I also love 18th century French Rococo. So it's really a very eclectic, kind of maximalist style. I'd like people to enter into my interiors and feel like they're in another world and feel like they're experiencing something that they've never experienced before. But I also like them to feel connected to where we are in the world. Hi, I'm Sasha Bikoff. I'm based in New York City, and I am the president of Sasha Bikoff Interior Design. We are in my home in East Hampton, which is in the eastern end of Long Island. I built this home from the ground up. It took me 3 years to get a permit and a little over a year to build. It's my proudest work I've ever done. There's something so special about being able to pick every single material, every single detail, design everything from scratch. My overall design aesthetic, it's Marie Antoinette at Studio 54. This home is kind of the opposite of that, more biophilic design. It's Japanese inspired, it's modern barn, it's coastal, and it lends more on the simplistic modernist side. I always say this home is simple, but it's not boring. There's still elements of me, and there's still moments of surprise. Come on in. I was able to build a little vestibule entryway, which is a really nice moment before you enter kind of this open floor plan. So here we kept it really simple. We have the wood paneling throughout. And another great aspect of an entryway is storage is so important. I have hidden doors and cabinets and drawers here. And it's a place where you can put your coat and your jacket and other odds and ends that you would need. One of the highlight moments of this open floor plan space is the kitchen. We have the vent, which just comes right up. This is a very seamless kind of modern design that doesn't detract from our high ceilings and the architecture of the house. I chose this stone, which was the beginnings of my kitchen, this was the first thing that I decided to choose, was this Esmeralda onyx, because it really resembles the sea and the colors outside. This dining room is really inspired by my life out here, where I do all my little flower arrangements and where I entertain. It's directly across from the kitchen. I found this fabric at Pierre Frey and I immediately was drawn to it because it has all of my farm fresh veggies on it. Another aspect of the dining room that was kind of the last piece of the puzzle is this 1960s Danish Werner Panton moon pendant. From the kitchen and the dining area, we have the open floor plan living area. This is a De Sede nonstop couch. It's an iconic collectible design. It is meant to kind of curve and move around. So I've always wanted this couch. With an open floor plan, if you're trying to create some kind of divide in the room, you really want to look into furniture that's going to look good from all different angles. The coffee table is one of my favorite pieces. It's also a collectible design piece that's really coveted. It's Roger Caprone, it's French, it's from the 1960s. And it has these fossilized tiles on top of different leaves and branches, 2 vintage chairs that were actually my grandfather's in his office. Still a fun print that's whimsical, that connects to farm life and everything going on out here. And then the fireplace, I really wanted a massive fireplace. And then we have a very organic light fixture, pendant by Noguchi. This is the guest bedroom, and it's done in my Uptown Toile wallpaper with verven, and it's also in fabric on the headboard and the little cute lampshades. And the inspiration here was to create a classic French toile, but updated a bit. A little bit of Brigitte Bardot and Saint-Tropez on her boat. We have Audrey Hepburn. These are actually the shark teeth that my builder gifted me when we were working on the house. It kind of fit right within the palm perfectly, and that's where I got the idea for my hardware collection with S.A. Baxter. This bathroom is actually done in my tile collection with New Ravenna, based off of a bandana design. So the tile actually comes in 2 different styles and in an array of colors, and I chose the indigo colorway. When I was designing this tile collection, I definitely had my house in mind. I wanted to pay homage to classic Americana motifs, and immediately the bandana motif came to mind. This is my den, library, TV room, and this is a very special room to me because I finally got a place where I could house my extensive book collection and all of my objets and curiosities. Here I fully designed a room customized with millwork and shelving to house all of my little trinkets. Custom made the sofa with a Maharam fabric that both has that neon orange and that also has that sandy color. So it felt like it was like the perfect homage to that inspiration. Now we are entering my 3rd guest room, which we call the Versace room. This room houses my 2nd collection I did with Versace for Art Basel, where I designed the surfboard bed inspired by Gianni Versace's life in Miami. The Murano seashell sconces, which brings you back to the sea life and nature. And we covered this entire room in a kind of shimmery tan grass cloth from Fabric Cut. We put it on the ceilings as well. I finished it off with a sailfish that I caught with my grandfather. Beautiful fabric that I bought on the beach in Punta del Este. They were beach blankets, actually. That's another design rule you don't have to stick by, that 2 chairs have to be exactly the same pair, but we don't play by those rules over here. We were able to put an underground window here that shoots up light from the top, people forget about their basements or they don't use them properly. It's usable space here, but if you're building a house and you're able to integrate the lower level with natural light, you can really get a lot of use out of the space. This is my tile collection with New Ravenna. It's based off of a 16th century Dutch map called Atlas Major, and it was my dream to have a bathtub in my bedroom. And so this was kind of like the perfect art-filled way to doing it. And it also is great because it does lend a little bit of color into this room. My favorite highlight of the room, wait for it, because I had my bathtub here, there was nowhere really to put a TV, and that's where technology comes into place. The TV comes from underneath the bed, fully integrated and built into the design of the bed. It pops out like you could have your own home theater, and it really solves the issue of the eyesore of the TV on the wall, which is hard for many designers. Voila. This is my outdoor dining area. It is a patio and a breezeway that connects the guest house garage with the main house. And this was really important for kind of that compound living lifestyle that I love. The garage is really an extension of the home. I wanted it to be designed just as nicely. A lot of people think that the garage is meant for storage and meant for mess, but for me, because I wanted to create this compound living, I wanted it to feel part of the home. Not only does it house my baby, my 1975 Mercedes, but it's also inspired by this car. And I designed a curved kitchenette that wraps around the staircase, so it's a real architectural moment. This is the guest bedroom above the garage. And I would say the best feature of this space is the round window. It has the best view in the house because we are on the top level right now. Probably one of my favorite features in the house is the outdoor bathtub, which is fully custom out of Verde marble. It's an entire piece of rock that was sculpted into this bathtub. And here at the pool, I created a long day bed. I wanted the colors of the landscape and of nature to be the focal point, and I wanted the furnishings to kind of just blend in. So that's why I chose to go really simple out here. I wanted you to kind of feel like you were in a hotel or a members club where everyone could kind of jump onto the daybed and play backgammon or Monopoly or card games. And I normally have big trays of fruits and food. When deciding to build a garden into your home, you first want to think about what you want to grow, because that will kind of determine the size and the shape of your garden. So I wanted my garden to be really modern, like the exterior of my house, so I decided to do something really linear and rectangular. I created a list of everything I wanted to grow and determined that this was the right size for the garden. This is the best part of the house, and it's being on the water and, you know, being able to wake up to this and see this every day. The final product of the home is really perfect. This is a place where I kind of seek inspiration. I have a repose. I live by the sea, and for me, it's nature that really drives me and that really inspires me. It's the sounds, it's the smells, it's the colors. But I always say design is never done.
What my clients love about my work is it's very textural, it's very light focused, it's very family friendly, it's classic and modern mixed together, it's sophisticated. Come in, put your feet up, and easy to live in. We have a very calm, neutral, light palette that my clients are attracted to. At Lisa Sherry Interiors, it's all about the edit, the right amount, but not too much texture, bringing things in, taking things out. My name's Lisa Sherry, and I'm the founder and the principal designer at Lisa Sherry Interiors. My firm is based in Charlotte, North Carolina. Today we are in Mooresville, North Carolina, which is Lake Norman. We are 30 minutes outside of Charlotte. It's a lake community. This happens to be my personal lake house, and it's really my respite and my getaway, a real jumping off point for creativity and relaxing and getting away. I was just looking for houses that I could have a little creative lab for projects to be able to recreate a space. So I started looking on Lake Norman. This house was very 90s. It was very dark. It had a lot of walls. And as soon as I walked in, I knew that if I took out walls, that I could really make such a difference and have this great open, airy space. It was a total gut renovation. The first thing we did was we took down all the walls, removed all the flooring, took all the arches out of the windows, and all the trim came off. The biggest challenge was honestly just, could I take this 1990s home and really create the vision that I had to make it modern and clean, lined. Water is really important to me, and having a water view was really important. The second most important factor is I love natural light in all the homes that I design. It's key to the light, bright factor and the neutral interior. This is a getaway for me, but it's also a place that I love to entertain and have friends come and stay for the weekend, relax, kick back. Hi, welcome to my home. Come on in. This is the living room, and my goal was to just be able to create this open, airy space. And as you can see, there's so much natural light that comes in here. One of the things that I first do with my client homes are take down walls to let more light in. This set of doors here was a smaller set of doors with arched windows, which were very 90s, and I wanted to just bring in these custom 10-foot doors and have them open up to the deck and to the lake beyond. There was a wall here that divided the kitchen to the living room that made the living room very small and just confined both the kitchen and the living room. So by taking the wall out, I integrated the kitchen and the cooking space to be able to entertain with the two rooms being cohesive, open together. I also replaced all the flooring by putting in 10-inch white oak wide plank floors, which updated the space. I love my new fireplace. When I purchased the home, it had its typical 1990s architecture, very traditional, almost colonial style surround. And I love now how I just created this box, this little 8-inch lip here, and had the whole thing plastered. So it just feels modern and clean. I love mixing textures. I don't like everything to be upholstered, so it was nice to be able to bring in a little bit of rattan, especially for our more casual homes that we design. And for me specifically, I found this at High Point Market at one of my little haunts that has great one-of-a-kind pieces. High Point is a wonderful place to go for all of your design needs for clients. It's an amazing market. High Point Market is the trade only, but it's also a great place for me to not only see my vendors that I work with on a day-to-day basis, but also to connect and meet new designers. I've gone to many other markets and I always come back to High Point as being the best. I love Market as a whole, but the one part of Market that I never want to miss are antiques and the vintage. I love this little alcove that I created. I had a space between the fireplace and the doors, and many times we'll put in built-in bookcases or shelving, but I wanted something that was almost like a little reading nook where you could curl up in, read a book, have a great view of the lake, and then rather than having a piece of art on the walls, I added this light, which is beautiful light when it's dimmed down at night. It's very soft and subtle, and during the day it's like an architectural sculpture. I found these great pillows at one of my vendors at High Point Market in the vintage area. They're made from old truck tarps, so it's a beautiful patchwork, layered texture that's so interesting, and I love how the seams are inside out. So we're going into the kitchen. I love this big 11-foot island. It's great for having extra space for cooking and prepping. I love the concrete countertop. It just has a great honed finish to it. One of my goals for this kitchen was to be able to cook and entertain at the same time and not feel ostracized from all of my friends that are hanging out. So this integration between the two rooms is really perfect. I love these bar stools that I found at High Point Market at Schwung, and I just thought they were perfect for the space. I wanted something that would tuck in under the island, that didn't have a back. It just kind of opens up the space by not having anything too large. One of my favorite things that I did in here, and it was a last-minute decision, but I had this wall and it was only about 10 inches thick, and I thought about putting art on it, but at the last minute I decided it would be great storage. I just love these director chairs. They're just such a classic chair, and I found these in bamboo, so I like the texture and how it marries with the reclaimed wood of the table. So having integrated appliances isn't a new idea. I've got a pantry on this side, a refrigerator on this side. So I took the size, the dimensions of the refrigerator, and then made this cabinet exactly the same. But creating the symmetry of these two pieces to look identical makes the refrigerator even less conspicuous. One of the best views of the lake is right here. It's just one of my favorite spots. I love this little alcove, the windows. It's such a great place to have an intimate dinner or tea in the morning. So this is kind of my fun little area here. I needed to keep this column. There was a wall here, there was a wall here, and I couldn't get rid of it. So I decided to just have a little fun. It's my Polaroid wall. And because I love to entertain here and it's all about having fun, having family and friends, every time someone comes, we take a Polaroid and then they get added to the wall. The old days. I love collections of things, and I found this old ladder, and this holds like all my design magazines and my inspirations. So this is one of my very favorite finds. I got it at High Point Market at Schwung. When I saw it, I just absolutely fell in love with it. And as I started to style my home, I moved it around a couple different places, but when it landed here, I just thought it was so perfect. And this is the primary bedroom, and this is also my favorite room. This room had a small little door and a small little window, which was such a waste of an amazing view. So I immediately ripped those out, added these doors that fold back. This fabulous peacock chair I found, and it's just such a fun little whimsical piece. This moment here is a wonderful collection as a whole. Everything has come from High Point Market. I've collected all these unique items that marry so well together. It's just so fun to collect things, put them together in an unexpected way. This beautiful string art is from a friend of mine, Don Schweitzer. And the table is a one-of-a-kind, vintage, old work table. We're going into the guest bedroom. I call this room the Picasso room because a friend of mine's son does this beautiful art, and his art is usually very colorful, but he wanted to make this one special to me, so he did it very neutral, which was awesome. I love the texture of these lamps. They look like concrete. The concrete tops on these nightstands with the metal base, and the rattan bed sort of makes you feel like you've been taken away while you're staying here. Just because it says dining room on a floor plan doesn't mean it has to be a dining room. This was the dining room, but now is my little media room. So by putting a sofa, the TV in here, it's always a little darker. A designer tip for modernizing your more traditional space would be to take out any crown molding, any molding, chair rail, change out your baseboards. You can bring the architecture from one period to another. So now I would love for you to come and see my dark side. Because I would be entertaining down here, mostly in the evening, I felt like, why not make it dark and moody and sexy? I found this piece of art at one of my favorite artists at the Antique and Design Center in High Point. Domestic Bliss was actually the perfect piece of art for this phase in my life, and it became the mantra for my home. These great S chairs are all a take from the 70s. Love the texture. I love the juxtaposition of the beautiful modern with the more vintage woven. This is the family room. So these pieces are all convertible modular pieces. So there are 5 pieces and we can convert it into different seating arrangements. We've had people sleeping here, watching football games on the weekends, having the TV on while we're playing pool or playing games, just really relaxing and hanging out. The fireplace has this great plaster finish to it, adding to the texture. There was an existing bar here that was very traditional, but I ripped it out. I just needed to modernize it and simplify it, so I did all black. I did a leathered granite countertop. I love how these doors open all the way back. So on a perfect summer day, you have this integrated indoor-outdoor living. So we come out here, have our dinners, perfect screen porch, view of the lake. We love taking naps out on the big, giant daybed. The most important thing in designing this home, it's on the lake, so it's all about the water views. So it's integrating the inside and the outside together. And I love blending how like the doors open wide, so you've got this indoor-outdoor living. The view to the lake is really what it's all about. I was so happy with the end result of the project. To be able to have this light, bright, airy space that I envisioned from the very inception of the project. Very comfy, very livable, very laid back. To have it just continue to evolve, and it continues to get better and better.
Clients really describe our work as very comfortable, very approachable, yet there's some elegance and sophistication to it that they appreciate. Our underlying ethos is always about comfort, and we think every home should be something you want to enjoy living in, not just looking at.
We've done beautiful modern Spanish homes, and we've done more traditional or more contemporary leaning, but there's always a timelessness and a comfort. I've known Denise and the family for a little over 13 years. This woman in a family of all boys. I start dating one of them and was looking to do something more creative.
It was a little leap of faith for both of us. I mean, this is a little company that had a lot of business, and I think it's been really a lot of fun. Yeah. I'm Denise Morrison.
I'm Rachel Morrison.
We're with Morrison Interiors.
And we're based in Orange County, California.
We're in Hayden Lake, Idaho, and it is just the most quaint, beautiful location. We were able to purchase a lot that was right on the water, and the community is so small town, yet you have everything you need. It's very charming. The goal of this particular home, because it is my home, was to create what we're calling like a legacy home for our family. We have 4 sons, we have 3 daughter-in-laws, a son that's engaged, and 5 grandchildren right now. When the opportunity came to purchase these lots, build something new and special, we were just really excited. I really love Brandon Architects, and in particular Chris Brandon, and I gave their team 5 pictures of sort of inspo that I was drawn to, and I asked them to think about it as almost like separate buildings. Architecturally, I really let them run with it, and I was thrilled with the results. Welcome to Idaho.
Come on in and take a look.
When you walk into the entry, you just get this expansive view of the lake. We think it's super dramatic, and we love how the architect did the double volume windows.
You'll see the siding from the exterior that pulls in into this entryway, giving this connectivity between interior and exterior.
We're now entering into the great room. This space we wanted to really function well for a crowd, but also have a lot of open airy moments where kids could play on the floor, or you just didn't feel crowded. The bench on the fireplace is a really nice extra seating moment that we were really excited to have, and then some really key furniture pieces as well.
A really organic coffee table. It's basically all these sliced different pieces of wood that has been layered upon each other, and it feels really fitting for the place that we are in. And then the fabrics, I think everything in here just like beckons to be satin. It's a really special place in the home.
We're now in the kitchen in front of this beautiful island. It was actually something I really enjoyed designing. I wanted the exterior sort of tabletop to feel a little floaty around this very anchored and large base. And then we picked slabs that are just so beautiful, have this crystallization and quartz going on in them with some patterning.
And then we selected this beautiful faucet from Callista, the Juxtaposed collection. Its height is something that we really love, and its clean line, simple form. It just complements the aesthetic of the home overall, but it also just is a great finish. It's gonna be super durable, and it's gonna get a lot of use here, so that was important.
So one of my favorite parts about the kitchen is actually the back kitchen, or sometimes we reference them as dirty kitchens in our projects. We have a great sink, we have an extra oven, microwave, dishwasher, all the things. And then it was really fun to just kind of style it with some of our extra plates and things we wanted to have handy, but out of the way. We were able to really lean into this beautiful dark color for the pantry. So inside we have all these great shelves for storage. And then we love the Savoy collection by Anne Sachs. We use it in almost every project. It's just a great look, great texture, and lots of color options. Our sister company, House of Morrison, makes most beautiful furniture to the trade. So we were able to design some pieces real specific to this home, including this beautiful Thea dining table. We love the irregular shape. We think it makes it multifunctional, and it also seats so many people, which is fantastic. And then we designed these dining chairs that have this kind of coiled effect. They don't feel like something that's gonna be precious or fall over or not stand the test of time. This particular space was really meant to be what we call the upstairs bar. I think it's really nice, especially off of the dining table. It can function in a couple different ways. Make a drink, we have beautiful cabinetry disguising some refrigeration, and the proximity to the dining table makes it special because we have this great surface. If we're doing a buffet or serving, this is a great place to, you know, put your food and lay it out in a nice way.
Powder rooms are always a place where we like to have a little fun, maybe take more of a design risk per se. And I think this powder room is one where we really played up that contrast in the home. So we've got this, you know, stronger black backsplash on the vanity, and then it's complemented by this very textural, almost ethereal, more ivory wallpaper. We also loved the fixture by Callista, the Pina Paletta collection in the natural brass. So we're walking into the downstairs lounge room, game room, bar. It's a lot of things. And this space, we designed the layout of the furniture with a lot of the lounging, gathering, more casual hanging out, because this space connects to the lower level exterior, which leads down to the lake. So we really see this as, during the summer, the doors are gonna be wide open and people are gonna be coming in and out. The lower level bar is offering a lot of different functionalities. So I think it's this space for people to grab beverages or snacks before heading to the lake. We liked the idea of introducing something with interest on this backside. We used the Ann Sachs Renata tile with the fluted detailing, and we love the contrast that it adds.
I think this powder room is really fun. I think we mixed a lot of different elements between the textured tile backsplash. This slatted wall gives just a hint of privacy. This little pole right here can be a great spot to put a tea towel if you needed to hang something, you know, and then the wallpaper, of course, added that luxury to the space.
And we love the collection from Callista, the Pina Paletta. We did the unlacquered brass again here, and that's gonna patina and age over time. And it's kind of like this little glitter moment that you have.
A little glamour to our very rustic Western, you know, vibe.
Laundry rooms are always a place where we feel like we should have something that makes you feel happy. I think a little color can be fun. So we don't have a ton of painted cabinetry in this house, but in the laundry room in particular, we have this really subtle kind of buttery yellow color on the cabinets, which we love.
And I think this has a lot of functionality to it. It comes in off the garage. You've got a bench, you need to take your shoes off, you need to hang up a coat or your cowboy hat.
Yes.
And if you need to get upstairs quickly, maybe have groceries, we have an elevator here, which is really nicely disguised, but is a great opportunity if you've got a whole bunch of bags to get upstairs. This bunk room was especially fun to design. We loved this horseshoe wallpaper. Some girl grandchildren, some boy grandchildren, so we needed something that would kind of suit everybody. But they love this bunk room. They just think it's their little play space. We designed it with lots of great storage too. So lots of place for toys. They have shelves they keep their books on.
Something fun to incorporate when you're designing a bunk room is a little reading light for each of the sleeping areas. And we also like to incorporate like little shelves for each area too. So perhaps they're all going to bed, but one of them wants to read a little bit later, or, you know, keep their books or special little objects next to them, they have a little space to do that.
Our grandchildren, your children, they really wanted to accessorize their own shelves.
Yes.
So you will see they're very personalized with their choice of books and toys and cowboy hat and all the things.
They want to climb on the ladders, they want to climb up into their own little areas and kind of put their things away, and it's so sweet and special.
So designing this was especially fun because we got to think about, what do little kids need? Well, often they need a little step up for their washing their hands. So into the cabinetry, you'll notice you have a little step for them to be able to reach the handles, wash their hands.
I think also like the color palette in this bathroom, it lends itself to a little bit more of like a playfulness and feels really connected to the bunk room. It was like sized for them.
We love the little touch of brass. Again, this is that beautiful finish that will patina over time, and Callista did the faucetry for us, and I think it's just beautiful.
This is the junior primary of the house, and this is really what I would consider the premier guest room, opposite from the side that the primary is on. So you really have a lot of peacefulness and privacy on this side that I think is lovely. One of my favorite moments is the kind of punch of crimson and leather that you see.
This bed with these gorgeous wood details, it's also present on the back of the bed because when the shades are up, you can actually see that. And we wanted something to be really pretty from both inside and out. And then we love this beautiful rug, again, kind of taking those earthy tones that allowed us to punch with some crimson on the leather or a little green moment on the bedding. It made a big difference to have it kind of quiet on the ground.
This is the junior primary bath. It does have a freestanding tub as well as a shower, which just really completes that full suite experience, I think. The tub filler is a little bit different than what you see all the time. So this is like a playful way and a different, more interesting way to do it, where we have the tub filler, but the levers, the way to turn on the water, control the hot and cold, are over here. The lovely marble slab that we have, it has those moments of terracotta that we've seen repeated in the home. We complemented that with the one collection from Callista in the black finish, and it just has a really clean form that fits perfectly in this more modern bathroom.
We're in the primary suite now, and this was a fun place to design. To include a fireplace in your bedroom, I think is a really luxury moment. It feels really nice.
Feels really serene, like how you always want your primary bedroom to feel. I think at the end of the day, it's where you rest and retire.
When you wake up in the morning and you see this view, it is like an ever-changing painting. It is so spectacular. So the primary bathroom is just so beautiful, and I think there's a lot of little luxury moments in here that I think really added to the experience. We have heated floors below this beautiful Ansex Noir Sully limestone, which the character of it is so interesting. And then you juxtapose that with this beautiful tub.
Yes, that tub's incredible.
The carving of the tub itself is like, you know, pretty much sculptural, and then of course you get to enjoy that beautiful view.
Yeah, I think the placement of that tub, I mean, it's like a jewel box, right? And that's kind of the piece of art that's just perfectly positioned in it.
And then for this case, we did have a floor mount Callista tub faucet. So then a bench or a little stool works beautifully for when you're bathing and want just a few things close by. And in this space, we really stuck with one slab, lots and lots of them, but really just letting the natural texture of the slab be the star of this shower and the vanity. Getting to the end was super rewarding. I've been married for almost 40 years, and my husband has had this dream. I can remember him talking about it when we first were married. And so there's a little bit of fulfillment of something really special for him as well. An amazing partner, an amazing husband, really has supported me so much, and our family, that to be able to almost, it's a little bit of a gift to him as well.
To build this home from the ground up, to be able to have all the bells and whistles and enjoy all those wonderful things that we specify for a lot of our clients, but now it's for our family.
Yeah.
Is so cool to see, and it has been like a huge labor of love, years in the making, and now we get to enjoy it.
Foley & Cox tends to create beautiful transitional spaces. Our clients are able to identify with the work that we've created that it's very approachable. They see the spectrum of interiors that we've done. It's really taking cues from them and adapting it. With the clients that we've worked with, it's been a really special process because now we're also moving on to the second generation. So it's exciting to be part of the process where you see the evolution of a family and you're able to create a beautiful sense of home. I'm Zuni Madera and I'm the design director at Foley & Cox. Today we're at one of the villas at the top level at Liberty National Golf Club. It's one of the most important golf clubs in the United States, and it's in Jersey City, overlooking the beautiful New York City skyline and Lady Liberty. The spaces were very minimal, and we were brought in to really transform them, refresh them, and add layers of interest and just take into account how they utilize this space. For the kitchen, we mostly did a decorative refresh. We were able to layer in elements of interest, functional lighting over the island, a handsome stripe on the counter stools. Instead of adding a sofa back table, we added a really beautiful modern shuffleboard. We were able to incorporate the logo of Liberty National, which adds another personal touch. We went really neutral with the foundation of the pieces, but added a hint of color in textiles and texture. So here we have a pair of lounge chairs that are from the Foley & Cox Home collection. In this case, we did a fabulous plaid that adds a nod to the sport of golf. So one way to approach modern interior architecture where there's glass and the lines are straight is to mix in softer silhouettes. We were able to achieve that through the textiles. There's a combination of soft wools and high performance fabrics that feel suitable and appropriate for indoor living. And we were able to incorporate a mix of materials such as leather and wood, the paper shade on the beautiful sculptural floor lamp. In the dining room, we have a really fabulous chandelier hanging over the dining table and a variation on the woods with a pop of color on the chairs. We like to mix the plaids and the stripes. They tie in together really nicely because of the proportions. We started this project in fall 2020. We completed the project in spring 2021, just in time for reopening. The challenge was truly just to completely reimagine the villas, thoughtfully think about proportions and scale. In this bedroom, we were able to take this wall and really create a feature by implementing vibrant, fun art. And the geometric shapes is a really subtle touch on the texture of the wallpaper. An interesting play on the Euro shams with these lines in geometric squares. So it's just very subtle, but little details that pull the design together. This bedside is a found piece, and we were able to completely reinvent it by adding an unexpected car paint finish. Not only does this finish have a beautiful reflectivity sheen to it, but it also is very durable and easy to maintain.
For the balcony, we put together an open plan for lounging and seating. It's also great for entertaining. This is an extension of indoor living, but on the water. So the primary bedroom has stunning views, full height glass. It's very warm and welcoming. It was just important to create a serene space, but add a little bit of vibrancy through the art and textiles. It feels like you're directly on the water on a boat where you can just come out and enjoy a cup of coffee and absorb all the beautiful views. The primary bathroom is a really clean, fresh, open plan. One layer we love to add is a vintage found piece. So it's just that element of surprise and character. So for example, we have a vintage chair here from Foley & Cox Home with a stack of towels. I would summarize the end result of this project as a huge success. We were able to really create spaces that are inviting and feel like a home away from home. We've gotten amazing feedback from the clients and the members about how truly transformed and beautiful the villas are.